Willow by Margaret Wise Brown. The end. Once there was a little pussycat not much bigger than a pussy willow. He was just as soft and gray and furry as those little flowers clinging to the branches all about him in the early spring. So he named himself Pussy Willow. It was a wild green world that he was born into. A forest of wildflowers grew above him. Some things were bigger than he was. Some things were smaller than he was. And he wondered at such little things. Suddenly a bug jumped out of that wild green world and up to him.
"Where are you good to bite?" asked the bug.
"Nowhere and not at all," said Pussy Willow. He rolled the bug back in the grass with his soft fur foot. Moonlight came. The peepers were peeping and the wildflowers were a gentle smell on the warm night air. A little peeper peeped out of the pond. "How do you know it's spring?" he peeped.
"I don't," said Pussy Willow.
"When the groundhog casts his shadow, and the small birds sing, and the pussy willows happen, and the sun shines warm, and when the peepers peep, then it is spring." And splash, he was gone. Nights passed and days passed and Pussy Willow grew more fur. Wild strawberries bloomed about him. Green grasshoppers hopped over him. Suddenly Pussy Willow looked up. His pussawillows were gone. Gone. Little green leaves hung from the branches where his pussawillows had been.
Where had they gone? He would go and find them. So off he went.
Through moonlight and starlight, and thunder, and lightning, looking for his pussawillows. He searched through the day and night, and the wind, and the rain. Spring passed. Along came the first butterfly and bumped bang into Pussy Willow.
Out of my way, said the butterfly. Who are you? And what are you looking for?
Pussy Willow sat squarely on his tail. "Pussawillows," he said. "Did you ever see any gray fur flowers that look just like me?"
Up in the air, said the butterfly. Anything that anyone would look for is up in the air.
So Pussy Willow climbed up a tree and all around the treetops, but he never learned to fly. One day a bee flew by.
"Who are you, and where shall I sting you?"
"Don't," said Pussy Willow. "But tell me, did you ever see any gray fur flowers that look just like me?"
"Sassafras," buzzed the bee. "Look in the garden."
So Pussy Willow climbed down into a garden, where he found cabbages and roses, poppies and tiger lilies. But no pussawillows. He went up to a big fat cabbage and asked,
"Did you ever see any little gray fur flowers that look just like me?"
But the cabbage sat there in its great green silence and never said a word. So Pussy Willow wandered through purple asters and goldenrod, through blackberries and raspberries.
But still he couldn't find his lost pussawillows.
The wind began to blow. The leaves turned red and fell from the trees. Nuts fell on Pussy Willow's head and apples dropped about him with a loud and sudden pop. Pussy Willow met a red squirrel hiding acorns.
"Are you a nut?"
asked the red squirrel.
"Did you ever see a nut with whiskers and pointed ears and a switching tail?"
said Pussy Willow. "I am a cat looking for pussawillows. Did you ever see any little soft gray fur flowers that look just like me?"
"Look under the leaves," said the red squirrel. "Everything that anyone would look for is always under the leaves." The air grew colder. Snow fell. Pussy Willow hunted through snowstorms and black branches and across the shining ice.
At last he fell asleep, a very tired pussycat, under a thin-branched bush. He began to dream that there was a soft purring in the air around him. When the sun began to shine warm, a groundhog came out of the ground. And when he saw a little cat in his shadow,
Get out of my shadow, he said and woke him up.
The birds began to whistle. The peepers in the pond began to peep. It was spring! And when Pussy Willow uncurled himself, there were his pussawillows. For he had fallen asleep under a pussawillow bush and it had burst into bloom above him. Everything that anyone would ever look for, I usually where they find it, purred Pussy Willow. The end.